This video is all about a truly life-changing spiritual teaching, and it's one you've probably never heard before, and it's this: how you do anything is how you do everything. Really, really powerful stuff. I am Brent Phillips. I am here with video number 6 of 9 in our series on Movement Feedback Holography, where we're going to focus on one of the underpinnings. And the reason I want to focus on this one teaching is not only will it yield huge value for you in every area of your life, more importantly, it explains to us how movement works and what's really happening. Because after all, if you've watched the other videos in this series, or read some of my books, or maybe you heard me on the radio or saw me on TV, it really is true that I declared bankruptcy on Monday, November 10th, 2008. I had nothing. That was the day of my life I think I was closest to suicide. The very next day, Tuesday, November 11th, I met Carl Wolf and had my first movement session, and it completely changed my life. I started making money like I never had before. Within about a year and a half of doing his intensive program, I had tripled my income. And it made no sense. Why? All I had done was meet this crazy old guy down by the beach, rollerbladed in a circle while he videotaped me. And somehow it totally changed my life. What the heck, people, right? What the heck is going on here? It's not obvious. I had been a full-time energy healing professional for 5 years when I met Carl. And I had no idea what was going on or how he did what he did. But I figured it out over time, and I'm here to explain it to you. So here's the most important thing. Know that your life, in fact, the whole universe, is holographic. What does that mean? It means that every little part contains the essence of the whole. Let me give you a simple example to help you understand. Maybe you've heard of iridology. It's an alternative modality that analyzes your health by examining your iris. Why is that? Your iris holographically represents your whole body. And if you know what to look for, you can learn a lot about your overall health just by looking at your eyes, at the iris. There's also what's called live blood cell analysis, another great alternative modality. And what they'll do is they prick your finger, take a little bit of blood, and put it under a microscope. And by looking at your blood cells under a microscope, they can tell you a lot of what's going on with your whole body. Do you have nutritional deficiencies? Are you sick? Are you strong? Are you weak? You can learn so much about your whole body from one blood cell. It's crazy. Why is that? It's simple. We are holographic creatures. Every part of us contains information about the whole. That's why you can look at a handful of blood cells and see what's going on with your body. So that is what a hologram is. Now, more technically, when we use the term hologram, we're talking about a laser hologram or a true hologram. And it has this crazy principle that, let's, for example, say that you had a picture. Let's say it's of a Ferrari. Cool. I love cars, right? I love exotic cars. So you take a picture of a Ferrari on your iPhone. And let's just say it's 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels. That's the original photo. Okay. Now, what happens if we eliminate the left half of the photo? If we lose half the information? Well, what happens is we only see the right half of the car, but we still have the same level of detail or resolution. That is a non-holographic thing. That if you take a picture of a Ferrari and print it out and cut it in half, each half does not have the whole car on it, right? No, each half only has half the car. It's a very simple thing, but this is how it works. And so a true hologram, a laser hologram, works differently. If you were to take a laser hologram photo of a Ferrari and cut it in half, each half would have the picture of the whole car, just in half the resolution, half as many pixels. That's what it means to be holographic. So if you cut it in half again, you still have the whole car there, just in half the resolution. So every bit contains the image, the knowledge of the whole. And this is a principle of our universe. There's a great series of books, and there was a PBS special on the holographic universe. Why? We are holographic creatures. Every part of us contains information about the whole. So let me circle back to the movement and explain to you how it works with this principle. When you move, your movements radiate energetic patterns, your mythologies, your beliefs. After all, we know how to do this. You can tell when someone's angry, of course you can, or when they're sad or when they're stressed. Why? You can read their energy. So when we move, if we walk, drive a car, ride our bike, rollerblade, those movements throw off our energy. They are a holographic reading of what's happening inside of you. And the reason we do the movements we do, such as the rollerblading, such as walking a tightrope, such as shaking your hands or scooping energy, the reason we do those movements is because they exaggerate the energy. They make it easier to see. It's kind of like if you had a piece of paper that had a bunch of good information on it, but it was too small, you get a magnifying glass, right? Makes it look bigger, makes it easier to read. That's exactly what we're doing here. Doing movements like the rollerblading, the handshaking, the scooping, etc., they're like a magnifying glass. It amplifies the internal stories and myths that are running your life. It makes them very easy to see. And so I want to deconstruct that term movement feedback holography so you know where it comes from and exactly what it means. But first, before we do that, I want to pause for a second. Please hit like, hit subscribe, smash those buttons, beat them up. Awesome. Very cool. And let me ask you this. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I aim to answer every single comment myself on every single video. When we look at this principle, how you do anything, how you do everything, have you heard that before? If you have, I'd love to hear in the comments. And especially if you remember where you heard it, I'd love to hear that. So let me know. Or maybe you've never heard of it before. That's cool too. Let me know that also. Awesome. All right, so let's get into it. What does movement feedback holography mean? Well, it's pretty simple. You do movement. Maybe you rollerblade or ice skate or walk a tightrope or shake your hands or scoop energy. There's all sorts of different movements you can learn. So that's the movement. Duh, easy. Feedback is the process by which an expert facilitator can watch your movement and feed back to you the energy you're throwing off. So as an example, maybe you start shaking your hands and I'm giving you feedback and I'm like, what do we see here? Well, you're throwing it away. You're out of relationship to your past. You're dancing for your dinner. And there's all these different myths, dozens, maybe hundreds of common myths we run. And an expert facilitator can watch your movement and read and decode the energy patterns you're throwing off. They're literally looking into your source code to see what's running you. And when you can take in that feedback, it works because your movement is a holographic representation of everything you do. It's a really wonderful, amazing principle. So let me give you an example of this. This principle of holography doesn't just apply to individual humans. It also applies to our collective behavior. And so one of the many spiritual activities that I've been involved with over the years is a form of Buddhist chanting. And you go and on your own, or even better in a group, you chant. It's the Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, which some of you may have heard of. I love it. I think it's great stuff. And here's what's so interesting. When I met my wife, JJ, we actually had our first date at a Buddhist meeting. And after we started dating, I started going to a couple of the meetings where she lived. She was in the Valley, San Fernando Valley, Southern California. And I lived on the West Side in West LA. And when I would go to her groups, they would chant really slow. They'd be all Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, etc. And I'm like, wow, I'm bored. Can we please chant faster? When she came to my group on the West Side, we chanted faster. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, something like that. And she's like, wow, you guys are going too fast. Here's what's so interesting. That's a direct reflection of the culture. Because in the Valley, it's more laid back, more relaxed. In the West Side, it's the city. It's fast paced. Everyone's in a hurry, not enough time. Get out of my way. I've been told that if you go to New York City, they chant at light speed. They chant so fast you can't even keep up. Why? It is a holographic representation of the culture. So you can learn a lot about a city and its culture just by going to a Buddhist meeting and listening to how people chant. Why? It's holographic. And that's how it works. And The process by which the feedback creates the transformation, that's a lot harder to explain. I can explain it, but it would take me about 3 hours. So I'm going to leave that in my weekend intensive trainings for now. Just know it has to do with observation without judgment and acceptance of what is. And so here's how it works. I went down to the beach that day, put on rollerblades, skated in a circle. Carl was there videotaping me. After I was done, it took maybe 20 minutes. We sat in his truck and we watched the video. And he gave me feedback on the energy he saw me throwing off. He was reading my source code. He could look directly into the behaviors, traumas, ideas, stories, etc., that were driving my behavior, that led me to do the things I had done in life that on the whole had led me to be a giant bankrupt loser. And I was pissed because he didn't try to fix me, but that's what I want you to hear. There is no fixing. Simply taking in the feedback is all it takes. And after he had kind of ripped me a new one, because let me tell you, the feedback was pretty negative. Why? My life was a disaster. He's like, you're throwing it away. You can't bring anything in. You don't trust yourself. You think you're in danger. You think everyone's out to get you, all this stuff. And I felt like I was just being criticized. But then my life started to change. It was amazing. And don't take my word for it. Go have your own experience. I would much rather have you go do this for yourself and see your own results. Don't believe I'm saying it. Just take what I'm saying as an opportunity and invitation to have your own experience, to see for yourself that this is very real, very true. And just so you know, at first, it kind of seems like magic. You may be like, Brent, how in the world do you see the energy? How do you read these myths? Don't worry about it. Everyone gets it over time. It is a symbolic and intuitive process done with the body, more so than the mind. Everybody gets it with some practice. You will at some point be able to see and read the energy too. But until then, you'll need a teacher. And I don't mean that as a cop-out. It's kind of like if you said to me, hey, Brent, I'm going to go learn brain surgery by watching YouTube videos. Can I operate on you? No. I don't want someone doing brain surgery that has only watched YouTube. I'm sure you can learn a lot. But no, I want someone that went to med school and has years of experience as a surgeon. I want them doing brain surgery on me. Just so you know, working with energy is like brain surgery. This is a big deal, people. It can radically improve your life, make money, heal your body, find love, even reach enlightenment. It can also cause harm if misused, because anything powerful enough can be used for good or harm. And so just know that over time, you will develop this ability too. You'll be able to see and give feedback. And at some point, it actually becomes annoying. I try to turn down my sensitivity when I drive or go to the store, just because I'm so distracted by all the energy everyone's sending me all the time. Part of me is trying to read it all. But don't worry. You can do this. It works for everyone. This is the closest to 100% I've ever seen in self-improvement. And I've been doing this for decades as a professional, as a seeker. I've been to hundreds of weekend seminars. I got dozens of certifications and all this stuff. This is the best, the most powerful, the most transformative. But don't believe me. Come to one of my live events. Come to my live Healathon webinar, See Some Movement. I may even have a live movement event coming up soon. So check out my website at awakeningdynamics.com. And there's some cool links in the description if you want to go deeper, experience this for yourself. That's all I got to say for right now. We'll be back soon with video 7 in the series on movement feedback holography. Until then, please take care and namaste.